As if 2021 wasn't scary enough, you guys wanted a little bit more predictions on just how terrifying 2022 could be. Let's get into it. Number 5 on this list is destruction from aliens. For centuries, humans have thrown around the idea of intelligent life coming down to Earth. We've speculated on how they would get here, what these aliens might look like, and how they would communicate with us. Hollywood has actually made an incredible amount of money exploiting this idea, with some of the biggest blockbuster movies ever made revolving around the premise of aliens. Now, although we truly have no idea how these aliens would react if they were to come down to Earth, typically we tend to believe that they would be aggressors and intend to conquer our planet or study us in some pretty graphic ways. So why might this come true in 2022, and what exactly could we expect if they did appear? Well, the reason that I think this might come true in 2022 is that every year that passes by, the likelihood of aliens coming to Earth increases in my mind. Never have we had more of a presence in the universe than right now, and that will only continue to grow. In what previous years have we been able to say that multiple billionaires are attempting to go into space? Is it possible that this newfound presence in space is enough to make another intelligent life form aware of our presence in the universe? I honestly think it might be. Now, if aliens were to come to Earth, I don't believe that we can automatically say they would be evil towards us. I think it's pretty egotistical of us humans to think that another intelligent life form would be inherently less moral than us. For instance, most of us wouldn't walk past a species that we're unfamiliar with on the street and just kill it. That being said, there's always the possibility that galactic domination is the overarching goal of these aliens, and if that's the case, the human race is probably toast. Although, assuming that they are nice and don't intend to harm us, I still don't think that we're out of the woods. If aliens were to come to planet Earth, then we have to think, where did they come from? Back in the day when Europeans were settling in America, they brought with them some European diseases. Diseases that their immune systems were accustomed to, but those in America weren't. If aliens came to Earth, then they might bring diseases or viruses that are from a completely different planet that nobody on Earth has ever experienced. Our immunities would stand absolutely no chance at all if this was the case, and it would sweep through us. Either way, friend or foe, the arrival of aliens would bring a plethora of complications to Earth. So let's cross our fingers and hope that they keep their distance, at least for now. Number 4 on this list is robot bosses. Now, I know that the term robot bosses sounds a little bit ridiculous, but you gotta hear me out on this one. People have been theorizing for decades now that artificial intelligence will take the jobs that are currently filled by humans. And to be completely honest, this isn't actually much of a theory anymore, but it's actually fact. Forbes estimates that over 60 million jobs that have been lost in the United States have been due to artificial intelligence and the application of robots in the workplace. The one-time investment of getting a factory automated or having a robot do a job is way cheaper than paying a human to do it long-term. Also, robots are not susceptible to human error, and if they ever break down, they require a simple fix before they're back to running smoothly again. Now, there's definitely a big leap from putting a car together and managing a business. Being the boss of an office job, for instance, requires regularly meeting with your workers, organizing things with people outside of the office, and a bunch of other tasks that are currently not suited for a robot. However, having a robot do this isn't as far away as some may think. Toby Walsh, an artificial intelligence scientist, writes, "We already trust them to match us with a spouse, and that's one of the most important decisions we ever make. Indeed, there is an argument that matching people with jobs is an easier program than matching people with each other." And he has a really strong point. If I'm about to trust a robot to pick my literal life partner for me, then why wouldn't I trust it to manage my business? If the AI becomes smart and cheap enough that it makes sense, then we will see a massive shift in companies. My mental health would personally be so horrible if I had to report my progress to a robot every day. I think I would get seriously depressed. Not to mention all of the other millions of jobs that would get lost to robot bosses. In my opinion, this is one of the realest and scariest entries on this list. Number 3 on this list is the revitalization of the Titanoboa. The Titanoboa is believed to be the largest snake to ever exist on the planet. BBC writes that it was 14 meters long, weighed more than a ton, and could swallow a crocodile in one go. 14 meters long is absolutely insane when you think about it, and considering this thing could swallow one of the most dangerous animals on the planet in one go, it was definitely a beast. Now, having this thing come back to life next year, I mean, that's a bit of a stretch, but the beginning processes of that They aren't totally ridiculous. Creatures of this size, especially reptiles, they require warmer climates to survive. As we talked extensively about in the first part of the scary predictions that might come true in 2022, climate change is a big problem. The global climate is reaching places that us humans have never seen before. Scientists believe that if this continues, then creatures like the Titanoboa will have the environment needed to make their comeback on the Earth. Now, once again, this is not going to happen right away, and it probably won't even be exactly Titanoboa either. However, another creature like Titanoboa could start to evolve with the rising temperatures, and before we know it, snakes like that one back in the day, they could be a reality. Number 2 on this list is the Second Cold War. The First Cold War was an extremely dark time in human history. Even though it didn't cause nearly as much death and destruction as the world wars that preceded it, tensions were high around the world and the threat of a massive nuclear fallout was on everyone's mind. Where people could travel in the world was extremely limited, with part of the world being closed off. A second Cold War could be brewing right now, and a similar style of living may be on the horizon if things don't shift soon. The Cold War that I'm speaking about right now may be between the United States and China. For some time now, people have been projecting China to pass the United States for overall economy and global influence, with many people believing that to happen very soon. In fact, I did a video on one of our sister channels, Life's Biggest Questions, answering the question, what if China took over the world? Well, everything I talked about in that video is happening right now, and the United States aren't too pleased about it. In fact, right now China is pouring boatloads of money into Barbados to help boost their infrastructure. This seems like a really nice thing to do on the surface, however, many experts believe that they're doing this to gain influence in the region. The US has also noticed this, and once again, they aren't too pleased about it. Tensions between these two superpowers have been brewing for decades, and I for one wouldn't be shocked if next year we entered into a second Cold War as both nations attempt to be the biggest global power. If this happened, then this could be a really scary time and truly change everyone's style of living as we know it today. Number 1 on this list is antibiotic resistant bacteria. Bacteria is everywhere. Tiny little living microbes that for the most part happily go on their way. Some of these microbes though are extremely harmful to humans and cause some bad diseases. Our best defense against these types of microbes are antibiotics. Antibiotics are exactly as their name would describe, antibiotics, so anti-life. They're used to stop the growth of bacteria and effectively kill them. Since about the 1940s, we've been using antibiotics and they've saved millions of lives. The problem is that these tiny little microbes are getting smarter, and our antibiotics, they aren't working like they used to. Basically, what's happening here is that the germs that we're fighting with our antibiotics are learning how to fight back. It's as if you're a football team and you ran the same play over and over and over again. Well, eventually the team that you're running that play on will realize what you're doing and stop it from working. The same thing is happening here with these bacteria, and this is a big problem. If these bacteria get too resistant to our antibiotics, then they will stop working altogether, and the diseases that we've had under control for decades will once again run rampant. This is happening right now and will continue to happen in 2022. Experts say that if we don't figure out a way to stop this or develop a different way of killing off these bacteria, then this will result in millions of deaths worldwide. It would basically be an entire new wave of pandemic with multiple diseases. I personally do not need to be entering into another pandemic after what we just went through, so fingers crossed, science can figure this one out. Well, there you have it, guys. That is our list of the top 5 scary predictions for 2022 that just might come true. Comment down below what you thought about this list and some scary things that you think might be on the horizon. Speaking of comments, I'd like to give a shout out to a few of you guys from the first part of this series. Nader said, everything is acceptable except another pandemic. I'm sick of COVID-19, and I totally hear you, man. Like, I don't think I can handle another pandemic either. That is like last on my list. Also, Kelly DeMuro says, so the dragon could be someone born on the year of the dragon. And actually, I never thought of that before. Like, we were talking about China, but that's a really good one. So, like, honestly, like, good theory right there. Anyways, guys, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.